Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. All week long, we've been talking about worth and measurement. And, what is your time worth? Because time is a special, amazing commodity with which we cannot measure, at least, in great quantities, because we don't know if we have tomorrow or not. What we do know is that we have the preciousness of today, so far anyway, thus far, and how important it is that we keep our the preciousness and the cherishingness of time in our hands, so that when we are using our time and spending our time, because it's both currency and a commodity, right? That we're doing so wisely. I think that's one of the most important things that, I've really recognized and realized. I've had some, I told you about yesterday, a woman who really helped me with my son had passed, suddenly. And a couple of other people too, from high school and all of that. You see these little, reminders coming up that our days are numbered. But I also think that we get stuck in this place of measuring our worth, which is the only thing on this planet that is immeasurable. I want to go through this because I think it's important. And it's important because I want you to see maybe, some of these things that I'm going to bring up are stuff and you go, ooh, yikes, I see myself in that. But I want you to get your worth from where you get your worth. There's one way to get your worth. And there's one way in which we know that we are enough. And that is to remember that we are a reflection. We are the apple of God's eye. And that there is nothing that we can do that's going to turn him away from us. And I think when we understand that and we can just meditate on that, that's when we start to put the pieces together a little bit better. But, if you think about it, measurements need to be precise about just about everything. Think about it. You cannot build a house without precision. Sometimes I watch HGTV. That's my guilty pleasure, HGTV shows, and they have on one of them, I think it's Hometown or whatever, the guy who's in it has a big sign in his shop and it says, measure twice, cut once. Measure twice, cut once. And don't you think that is appropriate for what we should do in our lives with the things that we measure? Measure twice and then cut once. In other words, be careful and then go for it. Be careful, get your theory together, and then put some action behind it. Just exactly what this is, right? We need to have action to go with a ton of theory. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of pie in the sky. So measurements need to be precise on everything. Landing a plane, that's got to be precise. You don't want them landing a plane on the Hudson, right? You don't want them landing a plane off of just say, hey, it's going to be rough, folks. I'm a little off. I thought I was there, just a little off, but we're going to have to land in this field over here. How about that? Or how much sleep you get. You can measure, your body will tell you, even if you didn't look at the clock, you haven't had enough sleep. You can feel it. That's a measurement, enough sleep. The hydration that you get, there's a measurement. You can see it when you pee in the toilet. You understand what I'm talking about. Hello, Gloria. But oftentimes we measure ourselves. We measure our worth in terms that aren't accurate and can lead to very unhealthy thoughts and can depress us. And in an effort to kind of avoid that and to numb ourselves away from that, we have some behaviors that might crop up that especially if you're kind of going through it right now and saying, I feel a little bit like this. Maybe one of these things is your measuring stick. And the first one that I have to say is the scale. Now, hear me on this. The scale is helpful for a beginning place and saying, okay, I'm starting here. But I have seen way too often that the scale is the barometer of what your life is going to be about. That the scale is going to determine whether you have a good day or a bad day. That the scale is going to tell you whether you were good or bad. Come on. That the scale has the ability and the power in your life over you and your mood. And for that, I just say, dump it. If that's what the scale is going to do for you, then you don't need the scale. What you need is something else to measure how you're doing if you're working on weight loss. But you can't allow the scale to have that kind of measurement, especially when there's such inaccuracy there. Remember, I always think a better measurement tool is your tape measure, because that's not going to fluctuate with your cycle. It's not going to fluctuate with, eating a little Chinese food or whatever. It's going to tell you the truth of what's truly going on if you're doing all the things, right? So let's just stop measuring ourselves by the scale and what our worth is, because the scale tells us nothing about who we are and whose we are. Amen. Number 2, your bank account or your pretend bank account. You know what I mean? Well, there's 2 kinds of people, and I've met them, unfortunately. I've been with men that are like this, who are either flashy, 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 and they don't have 2 nickels to rub together, but boy, do they have a nice looking car, and they've got all the clothes, and they're putting on the dog and pony show. Or the other kind, who are, they can squeeze a nickel till it squeaks. They have so much money in the bank, they won't spend money on just going out to dinner, or they'll insist on splitting an entree. I was with a guy like that. Come on, don't be such a cheapskate. And I knew it was in his bank account. That kind of stuff, that's building your worth on your worth, on your dollars and cents. And what does that do for you? Your value cannot be calculated like that, And that's some way that some people feel good enough if they have enough flashy stuff, or if they have enough cash in the bank. We get our security from that. We get our security from all the flashy clothes. But I'll tell you, money can't buy you happiness, and money can't buy you either the security in yourself. Though things will never do it. You'll always need a new car. You'll always need new clothes. You'll always need more money in your account. Think about it. Money's a tool, period. Full stop. It is a tool. It helps you to get groceries and what have you, but it is not the be all end all. It is simply a tool, and it does not transmit into your worth. Number 3 is achievement. I know this one guy who is in my health and wellness thing. He was just all about everyone's degrees, where they went to school, and Harvard grad, and all of that. And the thing is that all of the accolades, all of the rewards, all of the things don't mean a thing, and don't put an exclamation point behind your name that says, here I am. I had a goal to be a New York Times bestselling author. And when it happened, well, I had to pull over the car and just sob, because I was just exhilarated from reaching such a goal. I thought it would change my life. It didn't. It didn't change my life. It just added another thing. Now I can throw that around, and I do, believe me, I'll use that. I'll put that in my bio. It's one of the first things you're going to read. It's an accomplishment, but it's not who I am. That is not going on my gravestone. That is not going to be something that, is read in my eulogy. I hope not, because your worth is so much more than the accolades and the degrees and everything else that you have. It's your bragging rights maybe for life, but it's not a cup filler. It doesn't fill your little cup and make you feel loved and cared about, and you know, your self-worth hot goes flying through the sky, maybe for a minute. Maybe for a minute, you feel pretty good on top of the world. It's like that with getting through to any goal and meeting a goal. But then there's always something else, isn't there? So if your worth is is based on something that's fleeting, you're going to be constantly your whole life chasing after that. Number 4 is who you know. This is a big one, and I've seen this so much in the health and wellness community. Let me just tell you about that. And there's lots of name dropping on, oh, I'm hanging out with so and so. I'm in this, mastermind group, and this so and so is my mentor. Hanging out with so and so, taking selfies with them, and oh, here I am with so and so. Big heavy sigh right there, because what's the point of that? And I believe that's when we give our power away, and we say that because see how good I am because I'm with this person, I'm with this president, I'm with this best-selling author, I'm with this person. I don't know what the thing is with that, and maybe sometimes we do that with all the selfies and everything like that. But what's that about, really? At the end of the day, you are who you are. You came into this earth alone. You're going to leave alone. Sorry, but that's the truth. And how do we do this? How do we justify this kind of a thing? How do we justify this? It doesn't make us feel better, maybe for a moment, but it just makes us by association think that we're better than we are, because again, then it goes back to the whole thing as it's based on achievement, and you'll ride on somebody else's achievement. I don't know, but is that your worth? Does that transmit your worth? Number 5 is holier, healthier, and smarter than thou. Ever seen that? And God forbid I should ever do that. If I do, smack me down, would you? But you get the holier than thou whole thing. I get it. I understand it. I've got this corner of, the marketplace here for religiosity and understanding this is how it works. The whole secret to the universe right there. Just ask so-and-so on Facebook. Healthier than thou, if you're not a vegan, if you're not paleo, if you're not hot milk sprinting even, who are we to spread this gospel of superiority, smarter than everybody else? But it happens, we have theologians, epidemiologists, we have overall smarty pants Facebook scholars and social media scholars, always, and they've got some little meme to spread and something that shows they get it, you don't. What is that about anyway? It's this weird one-upsmanship that we have that's become mean and divisive. And not only that, this is what the studies have shown, which absolutely was jaw-dropping to me. It's creating a whole new brand of narcissism, because feeling better about yourself and by putting others down and saying, see, I've got this little corner of the world, creates narcissism. 25% increase in narcissism in the last 10 years because of social media. And you see it. It's snarky, it's mean, and it's these keyboard warriors. It's so garbagey. It's so garbagey. And we do that for what reason? To boost our self-esteem. So I think these are all really poor, crappy ways to measure our worth, because we are immeasurable. But how do we get to that place of understanding that concept, that this is one thing in our lives that we just simply cannot measure? Well, I've got 7 things for you. You ready? This is the good stuff. Number 1 is to remember who you are and whose you are. You were put here on purpose and for purpose by God himself. And he doesn't mess around. He doesn't make junk. He doesn't just say, oops, random person here. I didn't mean to do that. There's a precise reason that you're here. And believe me, those reasons can change with the season, and your purpose can as well. Having that flexibility in mind and understanding that you're here to do good work. These hands are here to do good work. Jenny did some good work with that beautiful picture that she did. I mean, it just warmed me beyond anything. I mean, it's just one of the most beautiful things anyone has ever given me. You know, she did that to bless me and to love me. And, you know, she's got a talent and she used it. How can we do that? How can we know who we are and whose we are and have that be expressed in our lives instead of all this other garbage I just went through? Number 2, express your needs. Vocalize it. Vocalize it and do it kindly and do it definitively. Don't keep people guessing like she's hinting or dropping these hints or I'm not quite sure what she's having to say. When you do that, not only are you being a little bit deceptive, but you're also not speaking up for yourself. You have no voice, you have no life, and you have no power. It's that simple. And when that is the case, then you don't understand your worth. Speaking up for yourself and having a voice in your life is the thing that's going to create the vibrancy in the life that you want to live. Pretty cool, right? How this whole thing goes together. You hear my big doggy? Number 3, back to Jenny. Do the thing that you enjoy. Do what you enjoy. Not everything needs to be hard and a chore and I'm creating new habits. It's not always about striving. It's also about being and enjoying and doing something wholeheartedly because you enjoy it and you love it. Yeah? You enjoy it and you love it. And I think that when we do that, we see our worth too. We see that these hands, these busy hands that are making this beautiful art, you know, can bless someone else. These hands that are crocheting a pair of booties for a baby, you know, that's something that is a blessing right there. Think about all of that. Think about all of that. Number 4 is love your people and express your appreciation. You know why this is important? Because when you do this, it comes back to you. But when you do it, you feel good about doing it. You know, quite often we forget. We forget to say thank you as often as we should. I am guilty of that. We forget to express the appreciation that we have for our people as much as we should. Because when we do this, it can't help but come back to you. It is the law of sowing and reaping. And you know, why can't we get into that for a little bit? Maybe, you know, your reasoning might be a little tweaked. I'm going to do this so I can get something back. But after a while, just that giving and being able to bless someone and love someone up makes a big difference. Makes a big difference, and it changes everyone. Everyone. Number 5. I want you to remember this one. Self-care for healthcare. You know, part of this whole thing of having a good self-esteem and a good self-worth is by taking care of the container you've been given. You know what? I don't care if you've got stretch marks. I don't care if you have an extra fill in the blank amount of pounds that you need to lose. I don't care about any of that. Come take a look at my legs. They're a map. They look like a map with little varicose veins and all kinds of garbage going on. That is my badge of honor from having 2 great big huge children and less than 2 years apart. I used to get so self-conscious about it. I tried to have them removed. I did all kinds of things. And now I just look at them and I love those legs up. They're strong, they're healthy. They get me up and down these stairs that are just crazy from our lake all the way up to the house. You know, happy about that. I am happy about that. And that's the thing that I can look at. Self-care for your health care. This is for your mind. This is for your body. This is for your heart. And this is for your soul. You are a whole person. the whole of you needs to be loved up. Then the whole of you can change the parts of you that you want to once you've loved all of you. You get me? This self-care thing, it is not just fancy manicures and pedicures and massages and all of that. It's also getting to bed at a decent hour and feeding yourself food that's going to feed and nourish your body. It's about having a loving phone call, writing somebody a lovely little thank you note. That's self-care. It's loving healthcare. That's what it is. Number 6 is to play, dance, and sing. Now, not all of us sound like, an opera diva. Not all of us have great voices, but who cares? Does it matter? No. What matters is that you sing. What matters is that you dance. And even if it's terrible, what matters is that you play like a kid on the floor with your dog, with your grandchildren, with your children. It matters because as we do that, we're getting a massive dopamine hit, and we're also participating in the presence of our lives. Because so often we live in the past with all the regrets and the beating up and all of that, or else we're out there in the future worrying, hand-wringing. When you play, when you dance, and when you sing, you are present, sister. And aren't you glad? And number 7, I will tell you this is the truth. Gratitude will never, ever let you down. Gratitude will never betray you. Gratitude will never say, you don't have anything to be thankful for. Gratitude every single time will give you a dopamine hit. Gratitude every single time will adjust your focus on what is important in this world. Gratitude will get you to the place where you're measuring properly. You're blessed abundantly to overflowing. Everything might not be perfect in your life. You may have tragic backgrounds and pasts. You might have all kinds of things that are going on. You might have self-esteem stuff that you've struggled with forever and ever. Amen. But I will tell you this, your worth is immeasurable. Absolutely 100% immeasurable. You can measure all kinds of things, but one thing I want you to promise me, pinkies up, you'll never measure your worth. You're more precious than gold. I know this to be true. That's all I have for you today. Lily, pinkies up to you too. I love you all. Peace be with you.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.